Hey, Joe. Sammy. Yeah, Sammy. You in there? Oh, Joe, you ain't gonna pull that old trick, son. I'm going in. Fuck it, man.
Joe Walsh reveals the real secret behind staying sober, and it's not willpower like you think. What he tells Sammy Hagar might completely change how you see addiction and control. The room carried that quiet kind of energy you only feel when two legends sit down without an audience, without a script, just real life between them. Joe Walsh leaned back, calm, steady, the kind of calm that doesn't come naturally. It's earned. Across from him, Sammy Hagar listened closely, not just as a fellow rock star, but as someone who understood the chaos that comes with that life. The question wasn't flashy, it wasn't dramatic, but it carried weight. How do you stay sober after everything? After the tours, the pressure, the endless nights that blur into each other? Joe didn't rush his answer. He smiled slightly, like someone remembering a storm he had already survived. He said, it starts with honesty, the kind that hits hard because you can't hide from it. For him, sobriety wasn't about rules or perfection. It was about survival. There was a time when everything felt out of control, when the music was still there but the person behind it was fading. He admitted that he didn't wake up one day and suddenly have it all figured out. It was messy, uncomfortable, and at times terrifying. But the turning point came when he realized he had a choice. Keep going down a road that was slowly taking everything away, or stop and face it head on. Sammy nodded, understanding more than he needed to say. Joe explained that staying sober isn't about one big decision, it's about thousands of small ones every single day. It's waking up and choosing clarity over escape. It's learning how to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. And that, he said, is the hardest part. Because when the noise goes away, when the distractions disappear, you're left with yourself. For a long time, that was the scariest place for him to be. But over time, that fear turned into something else. It became strength. He talked about routine, not in a boring way, but as something grounding. Simple things like waking up early, playing guitar without any pressure, just for the love of it, finding peace in moments that used to feel insignificant. Sammy listened, leaning forward now, clearly drawn into the depth of it. Joe admitted that temptation never fully disappears. It's always there, quietly waiting, especially in a world where excess is normal. But he learned how to recognize it, how to step back and remind himself what's at stake. He said that the life he has now, the clarity, the presence, the ability to truly experience music again, is something he refuses to trade, and that's what keeps him grounded. It's not fear, it's gratitude. There was a pause in the conversation, the kind that doesn't need to be filled. You could feel the weight of everything unsaid, everything both of them had lived through. Joe continued, softer now, saying that one of the biggest lessons he learned was to stop trying to control everything. For years, he thought he needed to have all the answers, to be in charge of every outcome, but sobriety taught him something different. It taught him to let go, to trust the process, to accept that some days will be harder than others. And that's okay. Sammy smiled, almost like he recognized himself in that struggle. Joe's voice carried a quiet confidence now, not loud, not forced, just real. He said that staying sober gave him something he didn't even know he was missing. Clarity. Not just in music, but in life. Relationships felt real again. Conversations mattered. Moments stayed with him instead of fading away. And that, he said, is something he would never give up. As the conversation went deeper, there was a shift in tone, like both men understood they were talking about something bigger than just themselves. Joe Walsh looked at Sammy Hagar and shared something that felt almost like a confession, but without regret. He said that for years he believed the chaos was part of the magic, that the wild nights, the unpredictability, the edge, it all fueled the music. But the truth, he realized, was very different. The best music, the most honest moments, came when he was present, when he could feel every note, every lyric, every connection with the audience. Sobriety didn't take anything away from him. It gave everything back. Sammy leaned back, letting that sink in. Joe continued, explaining that one of the hardest parts was learning who he was without the noise. When you strip everything away, when you're no longer hiding behind habits or distractions, you're left with questions. Who am I really? What do I want? And for a long time, he didn't have clear answers. But instead of running from those questions, he started sitting with them. Day by day, piece by piece, he rebuilt himself. Not into someone new, but into who he was always meant to be. He talked about the importance of people, of surrounding yourself with those who understand, who support you without judgment. Because doing it alone, he said, is nearly impossible. There were moments when he felt like giving up, when the old life seemed easier, more familiar. But having people who reminded him why he started made all the difference. Sammy nodded again, his expression serious now. This wasn't just a story anymore, it was something real, something raw. Joe smiled slightly, saying that one of the biggest surprises was how much joy he found in the simplest things. Things he used to overlook completely. A quiet morning.